Alrighty, buddy. Welcome back to Reasonably Prepared. As always, I'm Joshua. Want to say hello to everybody out there and say thank you for being awesome and super awesome and radical and learning how to prep. Everyone out there who leaves comments and engages and sends us emails I just can't thank you enough. It's super cool. And so I just want to give you a friendly reminder to go ahead and click that subscribe button if you like what we do here. Don't forget to hit the little bell notification or you won't be notified when we come out with new videos. You can check us out on Patreon. Right now we have a single $3 tier. That's another place that we're going to be putting content and it will help out the channel. Check out reasonablyprepared.com, which is our website. We'll be constantly updating and adding things there. You can buy our merch there. You can email us through there. You can get to Patreon through there. You can download the in case of emergency preparedness checklist thing. Once again, just want to say thank you. That everyone out there is super great, super inspiring, and we're so glad to be helping and doing this. But today, I wanted to go over real fast an item or a product that I recently come across that is pretty incredible and we like it a lot. So from a preparedness standpoint, from a prepper standpoint, in our home we try to think of ways we can preserve foods longer or take foods we would already ordinarily buy at the store and make them ourselves so we don't have to spend the extra money buying it at the store and eating the extracurricular things they put in it, the preservatives and the erroneous amounts of sugars and, a lot of the stuff they'll put in foods to sell them at the store. And so we were looking into dehydrators. Now, I've owned a few of those $24 and $30 dehydrators that stack from the bottom up and they end up breaking and cracking. And I've always been really disappointed with how they function. The less expensive ones. Got one at a yard sale once. Thought, well, maybe it was because it was old. Bought one brand new. And after about a year, the lid was cracked and it didn't dehydrate consistently. And so I was talking actually with my brother and he's like, bro, check out the Excalibur Dehydrators because they're insanely awesome. And so I decided to put it to the test. So my test was making beef jerky, or just jerky in general was the first thing I made with it. So what I did was I took some deer meat out of the freezer and I actually went and bought a leaner piece of beef, just a cheap cut of beef, like $8 piece of meat at the store. And I do have a meat slicer. I'll go ahead and review that later on. If you want to see that, let me know in the comments below. But I went ahead and sliced up a bunch of the deer meat from a deer I hunted this last year. And then also did some beef to just kind of get a varying difference. I went to our local academy and I bought some beef jerky marinade, which ended up being a little bit of cure and a no sugar hickory smoke flavor. And I marinated that overnight, sliced everything real thin, put it in a stainless steel bowl, marinated it overnight, and then put it in here. I sliced it real thin and I put it in here to jerky, to do its thing. And I gotta say, this sucker runs super quiet. It was on the counter in the kitchen and we never really even noticed it was there. It was between 8 and 9 hours that I did it, and it made really good jerky. This is a piece of deer meat, and the deer is really good. Just enough pepper, just enough smoke. So anyway, I wanted to go through kind of what's on here. It's pretty simple. It's a pretty awesome design. I'm still chewing, you have to wait. It's jerky, guys. So, I'm going to move the jerky to the side. I'm going to open this thing up. It's pretty awesome. So, a lot of the ones that I have used before, they kind of do from the bottom up. They dry temperately from the bottom up. This guy here is the smallest one Excalibur makes. It's the 2400 4 tray. Okay? Starting at about $130-ish. And then they work their way up to big, giant ones and even commercial grade ones. You can check it out on Excalibur.com, but essentially there's a fan in the back. There is a temperature control on top that goes from 95 degrees all the way to 165 degrees, depending on if you're doing herbs, if you're doing jerkies, if you're doing fruit, things of that nature. Basic on-off switch, and then you open the thing here, the front, and the trays slide out, and they've got these really neat air filtered, you can see right through it, trays, and there's 4 of these. And so really simply, things lay on top of this, slide it in. This is good for 4 square feet of cooking space. So the 2400 is 4 square feet of cooking space. And so all I did was turn the sucker on, put the meats on the tray, you know, from the right out of the marinade, so they were still on the wet side. And I put it here to jerky. I put it to the 145, right in the middle of where the jerky setting is, and set it and forget it. I left it. I just did its thing. About 2 hours later, I came out. I checked it to see what was going. And what I really enjoyed about this was every single tray cooked perfectly consistently. There were no inconsistent areas in here where maybe this top, the corner was done before the other. The air came through here nice and even and blew out the back nice and even. It was a good, even quality cook. Because I sliced it so thin, it didn't take nearly the 12 hours it might typically take. It was like closer to 8. And it did a really good job at doing the meat. Now, I want to do some other things. I want to do some banana chips. I want to do some apples. But just to give you some ideas on ways you can save money or not have to buy things at the store, or just the good old-fashioned satisfaction of doing it yourself. These are items that these are things that you can dehydrate yourself at home in larger volumes in bulk and not actually have to go buy at the store, and then preserve them. So number one are going to be meats, beefs, wild game, even chickens and chickens. You can put entire chickens in there. Oh my gosh. Any proteins that you're going to want to do, you can slice thin and put in here and marinate them, put a cure, whatever you need. Vegetables, if you want to dehydrate vegetables and leave those in containers for, snacking on and things of that nature. Fruits, of course, pineapples and, berries for cooking, for putting in smoothies, for just snacking on strawberries, things of that nature. Pureeing fruit and making fruit leathers, like fruit roll-up type situations, is really good for that. There are even recipes for making dog treats and dog biscuits and dehydrating them without any added, junk that you don't want your dog to have. You can dehydrate flowers for potpourri is another one. Another one to dehydrate similar to flowers are going to be herbs. So if you've got an herb garden and you pick your fresh herbs, you can take your oregano, you can take your basil, you can take your rosemary and just dehydrate it, crumple it up, and then put it in a jar, and boom, you now have preserved at a low enough temperature to preserve the nutrients and the flavor inside of that are going to be better tasting than what you go buy at the store in those little bottles that have been sitting on the shelf for a long time. They even come with these dehydrating manuals, which full recipes, how to use it, how to clean it, what to do with it. There's bell pepper right there. So, it's everything you need to get yourself started on dehydrating. And just straight up, for real, all of those cheap ones I've ever used, and I want to say it's about 3 or 4, anything that $50 or under, in my opinion, were basically worthless. I was real skeptical about this one because of the size of it, but I'm having to change over trays, and the top ones don't cook as well as the bottom ones, and I just was disappointed and would get frustrated. For the little bit of extra money, this is a way better unit. I have one gripe with it, one and one alone. And speaking with my wife and my brother and his wife and my folks who have these dehydrators, if you do meats or things of that nature, they are kind of a pain in the butt to clean. They're a pain in the butt clean. I want to say it's worth it because of the product and quality of product you get, but they are a little on the difficult side to get all the little holes properly cleaned out and get this clean, the little edges in here on the tray cleaned. And then, of course, meats like to drip. You kind of have to just figure out how to get in there to clean it really well. You can't just spray it out with a hose. You can do these, but you can't just spray it out. So it is a little cumbersome to clean. It is kind of a pain in the butt there. But the quality of the product is so great that I would recommend it regardless of how difficult or challenging it might be to clean out. And, to be fair to them, I probably could have been a little less haphazard about how I put the meat in here and how I settled in there, maybe dried it off a little more. I put it on right out of the marinade, right onto here. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. I didn't even look in here to find out. I was just kind of doing a nitty gritty down and dirty guy. Hey, let's see what happens. So the question is this the best dehydrator I've ever used? Yes, 100%. It is 100% the best dehydrator I've ever used out of all the dehydrators that I've had over the many, many years. So much so that it makes me want to use it even more. And the other ones ended up just sitting on a shelf. All right, well, that's it. Thanks for watching. If there's anything you want me to review, let me know. I'm happy to either try to pick it up or get it or find it to use it and review it. Any meat preparation things or food preparation things that help in making it so that you can store your food longer, you can grow them yourself, and just once again not be dependent on a system that's fragile with the shelves being cleaned off and not knowing, you know, what the supply chain's doing, if things are coming or going. Just become less dependent on that and start doing things ourselves to help out our families and our communities. I just want to say thank you, and remember, just because you're prepared does not mean you're paranoid. See you next time. Be blessed. Super fast. Now go fast and jump and go overkill with it. And now laugh as though like we're being ridiculous.